deep state bureaucrats are trying to stop President Trump from draining the swamp, but they're failing spectacularly on multiple fronts. In this video, we're exposing how Trump's strategic moves to clean house has just been upheld by the Supreme Court, dealing a massive blow to the administrative state and to the rogue judge who ruled against the administration, I think unlawfully. Now, we'll show you exactly how the president is winning the battle against entrenched bureaucrats who have been working for the powerless Democratic Party and against the American people. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, here's a fun one. The U.S. Supreme Court just hit pause again on rehiring thousands of federal employees who were fired under President Trump. That's right. These were folks in the probationary periods, some seasoned, some brand new, and all recently let go. The deep state believes that the federal government is a jobs program. Well, I've got news for them. 77 million Americans do not. We are sick and tired of having to pay the salaries of people who are not essential, who can't get a job in the private sector. But here's where it gets messy. Judge William Alsup of
San Francisco
swoops in like a legal superhero and says, hey, bring these people back while we figure out if their firing was even legal. President of the United States, according to Article 2 of the Constitution, runs the entire executive branch. This means that he can fire people as well as he can hire people at any time. They work at his pleasure. Now, I know there are a bunch of rules that the deep state created to protect themselves from being fired for being as useless as laws in a New York subway, but ultimately those rules are not constitutional. They could be changed by any president or any administration at any time. The problem here is the Democrats lost all power, and so now these judges are doing their dirty work for them. And I think every judge that crosses the separation of powers should be removed from the bench. They're not revering the Constitution. They're not behaving with good behavior. So the Supremes responded with a hard nah. Yep, the Supreme Court stepped in and slammed the brakes on that ruling. And what's wild is that this isn't just a one-off. The 6-3 conservative court has been quietly and sometimes loudly backing Trump moves over and over again. You'd think we were watching a legal drama, not a courtroom docket. What happens next could reshape how presidents flex power over federal workers. And I love it how the libnuts keep saying that the Supreme Court is siding with Trump. But the reality of it is Trump is winning so much because these judges on behalf of the Democrats are making unconstitutional rulings. And that's what this is all about, guys. Never forget this. These judges know that in the end, they're going to be overruled. And they're making the process the punishment because the Trump administration has to wait until each case makes it to the Supreme Court. And these Jacobins in black robes, they know that there will be no repercussions on their unconstitutional rulings. So who are these unfortunates, as the Democrats put it? They are employees from 6 federal agencies: Defense, Veterans Affairs, Agriculture, Energy, Interior, and Treasury. Basically everyone but your grandma's knitting circle. And unless they're in D.C. or one of the 19 states suing from Maryland, they're probably still unemployed. Except for Defense. Those guys, toast. Outside the legal bubble, good luck. Hope you didn't unpack your desk. Now, here's the thing. The Pentagon was actually quietly trimming about 5,400 probationary employees anyway. Quietly, like sweeping crumbs off the table after dinner with the in-laws. Nothing to see here, guys, but actually, yeah, there's a whole lot to see. Why did the Supreme Court stop this injunction? Because, brace yourself, 9 nonprofit groups who first raised the suit didn't have standing. Translation, you can't just sue because you're mad. You have to have some kind of right to be mad. In other words, you have to have been directly harmed by the action that you're suing over, and they weren't. And as usual, the liberal justices on the court, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, weren't exactly clapping from the bench. They dissented very loudly because, obviously. Now, what's all the legal fuss about? The Trump administration took decisive action to remove underperforming probationary federal employees, something well within its executive authority under Article 2. Naturally, a coalition of left-leaning unions in blue states threw a hissy fit, accusing the administration of wrongdoing. Washington state led the outrage, predictably clutching their fair trade lattes while filing lawsuits. And that coalition, let's say, they're not too thrilled. They called the ruling
deeply disappointing,
but promised in classic courtroom fashion,
"We'll be back in court tomorrow."
all it can say is, you do you. Meanwhile, over in West Virginia, union leader Eric Engel is sweating bullets. He just got 85 employees reinstated temporarily. Then this ruling drops. One woman literally sat down at her old desk an hour before the Supreme Court said, "Nope, get the hell out." And Engel didn't hold back, saying, "Millions of us are already living under a dictatorship if the president can ignore our civil service protections." Now, is that hyperbole or a warning? Either way, it hits differently. Trump's team, of course, argues Alsup overstepped by ordering 16,000 workers rehired. Alsup, a Clinton appointee, obviously, wasn't buying the poor performance narrative, but the Ninth Circuit let his ruling ride until now. So here's some more things that happened. On Monday, the Supreme Court gave Trump the green light to deport Venezuelan gang members under a law from 1798. Yeah, the Alien and Sedition Act, because these gangs, they're not terrifying at all, are they? And just for flair, the SCOTUS stopped a judge's order to bring back a Salvadoran man who'd been wrongly deported. I mean, yikes. But Abrego Garcia illegally entered the United States, according to his lawyer, so he was illegal. Also, on Friday, the Trump admin got permission to slash millions in teacher training grants, cutting DEI programs like they're weeds in a rose garden, because they are. Forget draining the swamp, now we're mulching it. So what does this all mean? Trump's strategy is clear. Redefine federal power, push back on bureaucracy, and trim what he sees as fat. Whether you think it's genius or a gamble, one thing's for certain. The legal war for America's federal workforce has just begun. But the upside? This battle is far from over, and while the media won't talk about it, you will right here with us. All right, thank you for watching. Hit that notification bell if you want to be kept up to date with stories the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. I'll see you in the next one.